pretty good year for tech. The NASDAQ 100, for example, returning to record levels. Apple adding almost $1 trillion in value this year. Let's get some top picks in tech. We're joined by Shane Obata, Portfolio Manager at Middlefield Capital Corporation. Shane, it's great to see you. Let's jump right in. Amazon, you like the look of this stock. Why is that?
Hi, Andrew. Thanks for having me. Happy holidays. Yeah, Amazon, we all know Amazon, but I think lost perhaps in this year's performance is the fact that this has been a multi-year laggard relative to some of the other mega cap stocks. And part of the reason for that is we're coming out of this period where there's been an increased emphasis on profitability. And of course, Amazon was a historically unprofitable company, kind of growing at all costs. So now as we look forward, the story is really changing. Profitability is inflecting at the group level. The retail business has normalized quite a lot, which basically means that during COVID, there was a lot of spending to build out the fulfillment capacity. And now we're realizing the efficiencies of that. So margins are going up in the core e-commerce business. Perhaps more importantly, we have AWS, which is their cloud computing division, which has much higher margins than the e-commerce business, as well as a massive advertising business now. I think we're talking about over 50 billion in revenue for the advertising business next year. So as those become bigger parts of the full Amazon company, we think that profitability is really going to inflect higher here. And so it's a good backdrop for people that are focused on fundamentals into 2024 after a good year this year.
Broadcom. Now, I'm trying to remember, chips was the core of their business, but they are a big player in software too. I suppose there's no clear line between the two.
Part of the story, actually, now that you mention it, for a long time actually has been the hardware to software transition. This is something that we've seen in other business models, which is effectively, as we move more towards software, more recurring revenue, we can garner a higher multiple. And that's what we've seen with Broadcom. It's had an incredible run very recently since the last quarter. And to your point of the continued software integration, they recently closed their $61 billion acquisition of VMware, which does virtualization software and other offerings for enterprise software. And so now I think the business will finish out at about consolidated 60% semis and 40% software. So we look at the software business as steady growth, as I said, very high visibility and stability in the software revenues, but the excitement is really on the AI side of the business, which penetrates into Broadcom's custom ASICs programs, which are partnerships with companies such as Google and Meta, building custom chips for AI applications. This part of the business is growing really rapidly. And then secondarily, we also have networking capabilities because, as you can imagine, there's a lot of focus in the market about computing and computing power. We need more and more computing power and memory and whatnot to power these large language models. But of course, we need good networking capabilities as well, great networking capabilities, which means to reduce latency and make sure that computers are talking to each other as fast as possible. So we continue to, yeah.
Sorry, Shane, I cut you off there. No, we're tight for time. Nvidia, yes. You think after its big run this year, there is upside for next year?
Yes, we think it's, I was pondering whether or not to mention AMD instead of Nvidia, but Nvidia is pretty inexpensive right now, which is a very weird thing to say about Nvidia. But the focus, I think, for investors, or the concern, is that there's going to be a drop-off in demand after a strong 2024. I don't think that's the case because I think investors are still comparing this to the Bitcoin mining boom. But I think this is very different. AI, to me, is a very much more durable theme, and we think that the spending is there. Nvidia has the most complete offering when it comes to GPUs, not only because of the quality of their hardware, but also because they have good software capabilities and good networking capabilities. So it's really the full package. I think that we're early in the spending cycle for AI, so we continue to stick with this leader, and I wouldn't be surprised if this company is well above 500 in short order here.